Well, welcome back as we continue with our big stories. Now, the Labor Division of an Accra High Court has told UTAG to go back to the classrooms. An injunction that was put forward by the NLC has been granted. But the point is, will UTAG comply? That is the big issue to look at. We have joining the conversation Dr. Samuel Burt Bwedikusi, UCC UTAG president. He joins the conversation. Doc, thank you for joining us once more.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Right. You've come to the crossroads, haven't you? The Labor Division of an Accra High Court saying that you must go back to work, and that is the final ruling of the court. But like we've heard, it doesn't appear to be something that has moved a lot of you. Why is that so? Why are you not at post today teaching?
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, I think that it's important to underscore that there were two main applications before the courts, and one of them was the injunction application. The other one was to determine the substantive matter, which is to enforce the ruling of the NLC. Now, it's important to state that it is the injunction which has been heard. The main application is still pending to be heard next week, Tuesday. But what is happening is that, yes, yesterday UTAG was in court and the ruling was given. The legal team, it's advising that we hold on and get the specific order, certified true copy of the ruling. And then they will be able to look at the exact orders that has been given and then advise their clients. So basically, that is where we are.
Regardless of the different angles to the conversation, the fact still remains that the injunction was supposed to prevent you from continuing with your strike. And the court has granted that. That means your strike must come to an end. Is that not so? Simply put.
Perfectly so. In simple terms, you are right. That is what it is. But again, what is also important to do is that it's also right for us to also get the exact ruling, the exact orders of the court. And I think that this is not something which will take days. It was a very short ruling. And so I'm sure if we are so minded, it's important that the exact orders are also received, and then we carry it on from there. So I don't think this is something that will probably even go beyond a day. I think that within the legal remits, that's what the legal team is advising, and so we'll wait and get that. And I think right from that we should be able to carry it on from there.
Aren't you as UTAG just stretching this matter, adding a ball and a chain to it to, so to speak, pepper the employer, government, even further? What more would you need from a ruling that has been given? I know that the dynamics of it would have to be broken down for you by the lawyers, but is it not clear enough what the court has directed? Call off your strike. The injunction stands. Call off your strike. What more do you need before you get the picture that this is what the court is suggesting?
No, it is clear. I do not disagree with you on this call at all. I do not disagree with you. But the point is that, it is also important that, we have a legal team in place. And therefore, it's important that we listen to what the direction they have. But other than that, it is clear. The judge has spoken, and I don't think that it will be proper for anybody to disrespect the orders of the court or to disrespect the orders of the judge. It is clear. But then, again, in carrying out that function, which is clear, it is also proper that the right thing is done. That, you look at all the issues that there are, and of course, what exactly the judge ordered, and then we move it from there. I do not think that also is just stretching the matter. No, not at all. it's important that we don't just presume that these are the specific orders. So we need to look at what are the specific orders that came in, and then we carry it from there. I don't think that anybody wants to stretch this matter. I have said in the past that litigation is not the way to go. At the end of the day, whatever we are doing is about conditions of service. So if you're going to spend all your time in court and not touching the substantive matter, then we are not moving. We are not moving on. I mean, that is not what our members want. But of course, we were not the first people to even head to court. It's the NLC that took us to court. So let's follow the advice of the legal team, and then we'll move it from there.
So the bare bones of the matter is that you are willing to comply with what the court said. I mean, Ofosu Asamoah, executive director at the NLC, did mention that you swore an affidavit to comply if the court ruled in favor of the injunction. And so what it means is it's just a matter of time. You do accept what the court has said per its ruling, and you will return to the classroom. It's just a matter of time. Is that? I just want you to make it clear for us, Dr. Boedi Kusi.
Yes, so what I'm saying is that, you see, once you subject yourself to the court, then it presupposes that you abide by the ruling of the court. Other than, I mean, there's no justifiable reason for anybody to disrespect the ruling of the court. We subjected NLC to us to court, we responded. So everybody knew that there was going to be a verdict. It was going to be either you win or you lose, and so for or against. So for me, that in itself is clear. But I mean, just as you said, in doing that, in obeying the directives and all that, one also ought to be clear of exactly what the orders are, and then we take it from there. So I don't think that we are saying different things at all. Sure.
From the standpoint of the NLC, do you feel there's a lot more that they have to do in terms of dealing with you when some of these situations pop up? And I'm taking that from the end of even the judge who delivered this ruling, who made it clear that he did not foresee that moving forward, you would be able to arrive at any apt or appropriate decision, for which reason he had to give that ruling. Twice you've been called to deliberate. The second time you didn't even show up until the Vice Chancellor's Ghana organized a confab which you were represented at. Is it because the NLC itself has fundamental problems when it comes to negotiating with you and moving forward, though you are willing to go back to the classroom, though not immediately? Is that something that the NLC and its leadership must work on or work at?
Yeah, I think that to a large extent, yes. We think the NLC will have to do a lot of introspection and look at how, and probably that is why the determination of the substantive case is important. The NLC will have to look at its own processes, its own procedures, so that does not appear that any strike or any industrial action taken by a union will automatically be deemed illegal, especially when its own internal processes, when there is a complaint, I mean, the complainant is given a written notice for the person to respond and all. I mean, there are a lot of things that needs to be done internally, but beyond that, I think that the human angle, it's critical. It's not just about running up and down behind the law and all that, but the human face in dealing with labor, it's important. Because some of us believe that if the NLC had not probably immediately rushed to courts and all that, some form of, talking, some form of, meetings behind the scenes possibly could have possibly resolved these matters. And when you look at some of the words, and I think I have had cause to complain on this channel, if you look at some of the words that were put out, some of the descriptions that were put out about UTAG and its leadership and all that, all these things we probably wouldn't have gotten here. So I think that the NLC will have to do some level of introspection on how it relates to labor. After all, they are there to work in the interest of labor and not always the employer. So I think that going forward, we will need to look at a lot of issues relating to industrial actions in this country.
Now, the president of the biggest campus when it comes to your union of about 15 or 16 public institutions, the University of Ghana, Dr. Nkumban, on the back of yesterday's ruling, said that UTAG Legon would not be back at post today, the 16th. For you in UCC, since you are the president, when do you foresee, that you could return to work? Tomorrow? Next week? What is your forecast?
Well, you see, I do not think that it lies on any individual campus to determine when to go back or not to go back. The decision to suspend or call off the strike is a matter that the National Executive Committee will have to determine as per our own laid down procedures, constitution, and then go to our general membership in this case to inform them to either accept or reject what decision we have taken. And so this is not an industrial action which was called by one campus. It's a national action, and therefore for any branch to either obey or disrespect, they will have to draw their powers from the center and go to the members. And so I do not think that one branch can say X or Z, or can say I respect or I do not respect, I will go or I will not go. The action must be from the National Executive Committee. And that is why I think that the legal team said, well, hold on, let's get the ruling, and then we can then possibly advise you on the way forward. A determination will be made on the way forward. And then the branch leaders can then go back and then touch base with their constituents. So that is what our own internal procedures provide for.
Right, so my final bit to you, the substantive matter of your conditions of service, your allowances and all of that, have not been addressed, so to speak. The injunction has been granted, you've been told to go back, but that still looms large. What do you anticipate in that respect moving forward, even as you've been directed to go back? How about the core issues? What are you anticipating in that respect from the NLC and from the employer?
Yeah, thank you. I think for me, that is the crux of the matter, because at the end of all these litigations, or at the end of whether legal or illegal, we'll still have to get back to the table and talk about the condition of service. That is why we took this, we undertook this industrial action. So that is very critical. And the only thing which has held us at this point is that the employer says suspend the strike and come and negotiate. We acknowledge, your conditions of service deteriorating, and the employees are saying that, look, you have said this before, you didn't honor your part of the bargain, so now trust is a bit difficult. But beyond that, I think that the employer should take the condition of service matter critical, and then invite the union to sit and discuss these matters in a very open and transparent manner, a very frank manner, and try to resolve that issue, because it affects morale.
Right.
We don't want a situation where people go back and then they are even not effective at what they are doing. It affects morale. So once there is that goodwill and that assurances that your conditions, something ought to be done about it, I think that it's something that all of us need to rally around the table and get this resolved within the shortest possible time that is possible. Within, if it's 1 week or 2 weeks, we think that we should be able to get this matter off the table to boost the morale of the people in academia to be able to do the work that they do best. I think that is the most critical point.
Doc, we're grateful that you've brought us the scoop on this matter. And as always, we wish all of you the best, UTAG, the NLC, and of course the employer as well. Dr. Samuel Bert Bwedikusi is UTAG president at the University of Cape Coast.